Chris, thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Chris, we're talking now about an impressive new book of your father's famous work and a show at the Idea Generation Gallery here in London, things from the Duffy archive. I wanted to start by asking you about a pretty amazing incident I've heard about the burning of negatives by your father, and I wanted to ask how this came about.
Yeah, this incident's been kind of pretty well documented over the last couple of years. I think it was at the end of a long run of probably 20 years working day and night, and I think finally Duffy just came to the end of his tether and felt he'd had enough of taking pictures in the business. And the story goes, as Duffy recalls it, was that he'd come into the studio one morning and an assistant said to him, "We've run out of toilet paper." And I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think he realised at that point he was running the business, trying to make the money and keep the whole studio going, paying wages, and there he was responsible for whether toilet paper was in the loo or not. And I think he just snapped at that point and fired everyone. Just grabbed packets of negs and prints and just set a bonfire up in the garden and started burning them. Luckily, I don't know if anyone's ever burnt acetate and negatives, but they produced an extraordinary amount of black, acrid smoke. And neighbours started complaining and called the council, and they sent some little guy along who looked over the garden fence and said, "Oi, you can't do that." So stopped Duffy his tracks.
Yes.
As the story goes, apparently more by luck than judgment, David Bailey had just happened to call in and was watching Duffy burn his mates and said, "Well, I'll look after them for you if you want." And Duffy said, "Don't bother," and continued to burn them. So yeah, there's big chunks in the archive, and you can see by just looking at the neg numbers that there's sort of missing negatives there, and they're all kind of arbitrary, really. For example, you might get I don't know, job number 100, and the next one is 158, so you know that was just a bunch of negs he grabbed hold of and threw on the fire. So, but you never know whether there was good, bad, or indifferent in that material. There was probably as much good stuff as there was bad stuff, but certainly over since I've been doing the archive over the last 4 years, pictures do appear in places that I've never seen, which is fascinating, really. Just recently, someone pointed me to a library in New York called Trunk, and had a conversation with them, and they said, "Oh yeah, we've got some of Duffy's work." And I said, "Oh really?" So they sent me a link, and I got on the website, and I saw all these amazing pictures that I'd never seen.
Wow.
God, I wish I'd have had some of those for the book. But
yes.
things just, do turn up.
Chris, thanks very much for your time. There's Chris Duffy there. The book is Duffy in His Own Words. It's out in the UK now. It's coming soon to the USA, and the show's at the Idea Generation Gallery in London and Shoreditch.